Hello, welcome to My Easy Statistics. In this video, we will discuss about choosing the appropriate statistical test, that is comparing between the groups. Now, if the objective of the study is to examine difference between two independent groups on one dependent variable, we can use the following test. Please understand here, we are going to talk about comparing the groups. If you have an independent variable which is nominal data, you must see how many levels or how many groups that independent variable is having. If it is having exactly 2 levels and the dependent variable is a scale data like given here, then we must use independent sample t-test. But one condition is here, the dependent variable should be normally distributed. If in case this dependent variable is not normally distributed, that is the data is skewed, then we must use non-parametric method which is called as Mann-Whitney U-test. So if the dependent variable is scale data and normally distributed, then you must use independent sample t-test. If the dependent variable is not normally distributed, then we must use Mann-Whitney U-test. Let us see another type of condition. If the independent variable is nominal, that is categorical, and it is having exactly 2 levels, and the dependent variable is ordinal, then we must use a Mann-Whitney U-test, because ordinal data will be used for non-parametric only. So that is why we must use Mann-Whitney U-test only. Okay, so these two conditions we have seen. You may ask one condition. If the independent variable is nominal, dependent variable is also nominal, then we must use chi-square test must be used. So this is very important case where independent variable is having exactly 2 levels. Depending on the dependent variable measurement type, whether it is scale or ordinal, the test will change. Now let us see one more type of tests. In this case, the independent variable is nominal but having more than 2 levels. I'll show you with example. When we go to example, I'll show you how many levels we can have. If it is having more than 2 levels, same, the dependent variable is scale data and the dependent variable is normally distributed, we must use one-way ANOVA. Independent variable nominal and having more than 2 levels. The dependent variable is scale data but not normally distributed, then you must use Kruskal-Wallis tests. Okay, I think it's clear. The independent variable is nominal, more than 2 levels, it may be 3, 4, 5, how many levels it may be. Dependent variable is scale data, and if this dependent variable is normally distributed is one-way ANOVA. If it is not normally distributed, you must use Kruskal-Wallis test. This is a non-parametric test. And independent variable nominal more than 2 levels, dependent variable measurement type is ordinal, then we must use Kruskal-Wallis test. So as I already said, dependent variable which is ordinal cannot be parametric test. Okay, it should be a non-parametric test. Then you must use Kruskal-Wallis test. And the final one, if independent variable is nominal, dependent variable is also nominal, then you must use again chi-square test only need to be used. So you need to understand the dependent variable, independent variable, what type of data they are, and the dependent variable you must see whether it is normally distributed, not normally distributed, and in independent variable you must see how many levels it is there. Basing on all these combinations, we must select the appropriate test. Now what we will do, I'll show you an example and I'll explain the same test once again. You can see this example. In this example, first we will see is gender. Let us see, gender is an independent variable. It is having 2 levels, male and female. Right, now I want to see, is there any significant difference between gender towards income? See, income is a scale data. You can see it is a scale data. Now, if you want to compare, is there any difference between male and female towards income? Income is a dependent variable which is scale data. Imagine it is normally distributed. You must do normality test and conclude whether it is normally distributed or not normally distributed. If it is normally distributed, then we must use independent sample t-test. Okay, because dependent variable is gender, which is exactly 2 levels. Independent variable is gender, which is exactly 2 levels. Dependent variable, which is a scale data, and assume that it is normally distributed. Then you must use independent sample t-test. Now let us see the other thing. If you want to compare between gender towards job satisfaction, I want to have an assumption there is no significant difference between male and female towards a job satisfaction. Now independent variable is gender, which is exactly 2 levels, male and female. And we are comparing the dependent variable is ordinal. Then you must use Mann-Whitney U-test must be used. Clear. Now the next type of example. Let us see category of cars. Okay, category of cars. Here we have 3 categories of cars: economic, standard and luxury. I want to see a person's having different categories of cars. Will be there a difference in the income? So I want to see there is no significant difference between category of car towards household income. Is an assumption, hypothesis. Now in this case, category of car is independent. Here how many levels we have? More than 2 levels. We have 3 levels are there. And you want to compare this to dependent variable income. Income is a scale data and assume it is normally distributed. Then we must use one-way ANOVA must be used. In case if this dependent variable is not normally distributed, then you must use again Kruskal-Wallis test must be used. Yeah, next example. I want to see, is there any difference between car category with job satisfaction? Car category is independent variable with more than 2 levels. And job satisfaction is an ordinal data. So when you want to see, is there any significant difference between car category to job satisfaction is dependent variable which is ordinal data, then you must use again Kruskal-Wallis test must be used. So for your understanding purpose, I am showing this example. The detailed analysis is already explained in my YouTube channel. You can please go to the video. Thank you.